Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Shannon Nickinson, Editor-in-Chief of ProgressandPromise.com, and we want to thank you so much for responding to both the show and the website. I'm so pleased that y'all are checking us out at ProgressPromise.com, that you're liking us on Facebook, that you're following us on Twitter, that you're sharing your stories, and you're really responding to what we want to do with the show and with the website, which is to have a positive, constructive dialogue, to highlight the successes in our community, and also to focus on our challenges in a not mean-spirited, progressive kind of way. And one of the things that we want to do with the show today is focus on the good folks who are doing work in the nonprofit world, who are helping us address some of the challenges that we have in the community, especially dealing with the poverty that we have to face. Being thankful is on everyone's mind this time of year, but need is not confined to the calendar. And in our area, the need is great. Escambia County is the poorest metropolitan area in the state of Florida. Nearly 50% of our neighbors are without health insurance. Only 23% of the population in the county has a bachelor's degree or higher. Nearly 17% of the people in this county live below the poverty line. These statistics cost us as a community in terms of economic development, business recruiting and retention, and in our social service expenses. It also takes a toll on the people behind those statistics. But there are good folks in the nonprofit community who work every day to bridge the gap and make sure that this community's reputation for generosity extends to cover those of our neighbors who are in need. And we are lucky because some of them are with us today to share their stories. Our first guest is Jessica Simpson. She's the Executive Director of Health and Hope Clinic. The clinic offers free health care to those who don't have it. And the estimate is that nearly 88,500 people in Escambia County have no health insurance of any kind, which means there are an awful lot of folks for Jessica's agency to help. Hi, Jessica. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. Tell us some about Health and Hope's mission and values and what you're working on. You have some exciting news in your world.
At Health and Hope, basically our mission is to provide health and hope to those that are hurting in our community. We started as an urgent care facility, but learned the need and the sickness that was in our community, the ongoing chronic diseases. And so we are a medical home for those that are eligible through financial eligibility standards and guidelines. And so we provide doctor's care to them, mainly generalist care, but also specialists. We have a lot of specialists on board. They're all volunteers. We're a volunteer-run clinic, like a lot of the other free clinics in our area. I don't know if you've heard of Good Samaritan Clinic or St. Joe's downtown. So just like them, we provide free health care, medications, labs, all that are needed for access to that to our community. And we're enjoying it very much, partnering with some agencies that have sort of come alongside our mission. And we have a clinic in Century that has expanded in hours, and in the footprint in the building that we're in, we've expanded to include more exam rooms, and that way to take on more patients that need it. And then we have a couple of churches that have kind of launched us into new buildings, and we're moving to a new, much bigger building for our main clinic here in Pensacola. And then our future is bright with a clinic near Baptist Hospital, if you're familiar with that area, over in that side of town. And our vision is really to have a network of small clinics because the transportation need in our area is so great, and being in one central location can limit the patients and their ability to get to us. So we're just loving being here in this community. It's an extremely giving community, and our patients are just like you and me. They're our neighbors and people you wouldn't know, the faces you see every day. And so we're just blessed to be here to do the work we do.
How many patients do you serve currently?
Currently, on a yearly basis, we have an active patient roster of about 1,200. We have seen in the 10 years that we've been open almost 4,000 patients. So some of them move in and out or get health insurance. Our patients don't have any sort of health insurance and don't get any sort of government assistance. So they're sort of in that gap of getting nothing. And so that's the demographic of our patients and the number that we see on a daily basis.
Tell us about the partnership that you have with Olive Baptist Church. You have a great new facility that's opened up on their campus recently.
We do, yep. About 4 years ago, Olive had a vision to give us a new building. We currently have a building that we share with the Pensacola Bay Baptist Association, and we're thankful for that. But Olive Pastor Traylor put it to his church and his congregation to give us our own building that was big enough to serve, the needs that we have, which couldn't be I mean, if we had a building big enough to serve our needs, that would be a blessing. But so our new building is actually on the campus of Ministry Village at Olive. It's about 5,000 square feet, a size and a half bigger than what we have now. And it's actually going to include dental care, which is not a service that we've had before. So a big need there.
And you have another partnership that has been in the works for a little while, but now is really kind of blossoming with the Reverend Lou Timothy May at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church.
Right, through some different things that happened, Reverend May moved and things opened up in that regard, and so we were able to have a building donated that actually used to be a doctor's office. Reverend May used it for his church, but by the blessing of God, we have actually an old doctor's office that we can move into right there on Blunt Street. I know,
How
it
perfect
couldn't
is
be
that?
any more perfect.
And we are so lucky to have with us Pastor May, who's going to come and tell a little bit about how his vision dovetails with yours and what that's going to mean for the community over there. Pastor May, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it so much. Tell us some about how you and Jessica have found your missions colliding, I guess.
Well, that's exactly what happened. Jessica and I, our missions, the groups that we have, the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church and the Health and Hope Clinic, we collided some years ago trying to figure out a way to bring access to quality health care to the least and the left out of our community. And when we were brainstorming, our challenge was, what is the location? Do we have a physical place where we can have this Health and Hope Clinic? And providentially, we were blessed to move our location to a larger facility, and it left vacant the prior facility that we had, and we were in a doctor's office, so it made sense that we could bring the Health and Hope Clinic inside of a previously doctor's office, and it went from there, and we spoke with the great people in this community of the different health providers, and they were all on board. And I tell you, we're excited about bringing some quality health insurance to those who wouldn't have it any other way.
I know that the folks at Baptist Hospital are leasing the building. They actually own that building, and they leased it to you, and they're leasing it to you now.
Correct.
As well. So that is kudos to them for keeping their footprint in the community that way. Why was it so important for you? I know that making healthcare part of your church work is something that you have wanted to do for a long time and have looked for a way to do. Why is that so important to you to fit that in?
It's very important because when you look at individuals' lives, whether you're looking spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, you got to look at the person as an entire individual. Mm-hmm. And if my spirituality is high and my quality of life is low, I'm still not at peace. And so immediately when I began pastoring, our footprint is right next to Baptist Hospital. Mm-hmm. And I made a phone call over and I said, hey, you're dealing with people's physical needs and we're dealing with the spiritual. How can we do this together so that we can make this person a holistic individual so that their quality of life can totally be awesome? Mm-hmm. And from there we began to brainstorm, and then a few years later we ran into Jessica in the Health and Hope Clinic, and there, from that point, we began to say, hey, this individual, we just don't want to talk to them about having a high spirituality. We want your life to be a high quality life, and you can't do that if you don't have access to proper health care. And so that's what the Health and Hope Clinic is doing. It's been a part of our mission of the church for a long time, and through the graciousness of Health and Hope Clinic, an extension now will be part of the reality for the Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, and furthermore for the west side of Pensacola, which is one of the most needed areas in our community.
And medically underserved, and those folks who are going to the emergency room for things they don't really need to go to the emergency room for, they're now going to have this primary care venue that they can use.
Exactly.
Right.
When I know there's a little bit of work that you all have been doing to the building to get it up and running. What's the target for opening?
Well, I believe that we've discussed a couple times. We're shooting for the beginning of the new year, maybe January or February. But aggressive work has been going on, fundraising has been going on, and Jessica could probably talk more about this. But we're looking excitedly ready for 2014, January or February, to have this up and running for the west side of Pensacola.
And one of the nice things about that particular location at Blunt Street, I know, is that it's on a bus line. So again, the transportation issue that we touched on is really important, and I know that's going to help. The Olive Baptist location is on a bus line too.
It is.
Well, that was one of the challenges because 9 Mile Road, and as we talked before, if we have the most needed individuals that are inside the city limits of Pensacola, it's hard for them to get to 9 Mile Road to get some of these services. And so bringing them within the city limits on a bus line, it opens up the opportunity for access to healthcare. And healthcare in itself is not the problem, it's the access. Because if I have a good resource, but if I don't have a channel or a vein to get me to that resource, then that resource won't help me. And that's exactly what the Health and Hope Clinic, especially on the west side, is doing.
Well, it's wonderful work. I'm so glad that you two have met up and you're linking up your efforts together. It's wonderful, and I wish you all the success in the world. Let us know how things go, and we will update folks on progress. We'll spread the word. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All right, my pleasure. We will be back in just a few minutes. Please stay with us.
Last year alone, the Gulf Coast Kids House served nearly 1,800 child victims of severe physical and sexual abuse. We provide a place where children can be interviewed without having to go to a police station, can be examined by a doctor without having to wait in an ER, and can receive counseling in a safe, healthy environment. They're our children, our future. Help them heal by supporting the Gulf Coast Kids House.
Welcome back. The holidays in most families are synonymous with food, at least in my family they are, but even more families than ever are struggling not just to get through the holidays, but through the whole new year to put food on the table. Here to talk to us about the growing problem of hunger in our community is Dee Dee Flaunlacker. Dee Dee is director of Manna Food Pantries, which is gearing up for a big increase in demand for their services, not just through the holiday season and beyond, especially thanks to recent cuts in the food stamp program. So, Dee Dee, how is Manna trying to step up and fill the need in our community, which, as you have told us, is increasing?
It is, and you know, Shannon, what we do is we provide groceries to people in need, and we are an emergency food assistance program. So when folks come to us, we're giving them, we have been giving them actually 4 days worth of food in their grocery bags. Because of the recent food stamp cuts, we are now offering 5 days worth of food in our bags. Now,
Which is great.
That is great. It means a lot more food, though, that is being distributed. We think that's going to mean probably at least an additional 200,000 pounds of food in the course of the year.
But you have just wrapped up, as we're taping this, you have wrapped up the Fill the Mayflower campaign, and you told me something great. That is the most successful that campaign has ever been this year.
Yes, we raised more food and more funds from that drive. It was fantastic, 112,222 pounds of food that we're going to be able to give to the hungry thanks to that drive. At the same time, at that same week, we also unfortunately hit a record for number of people that needed help. The day before Thanksgiving, 435 people visited our main pantry in downtown Pensacola.
That's
never been that high before.
Wow. So who are, I think it might surprise folks to know who, you may have this idea in your mind of who the hungry is, but who comes to see you?
You know, it's folks who look like you and me. People who are employed. In fact, we know that what's trending, unfortunately, is that more people who are employed are needing help with food. A lot of seniors are needing assistance. Over 6,000 seniors in the past year have received help from Manna. A lot of children, as a matter of fact, over 15,000 children have received food from Manna. And then it's a lot of folks who, certainly it's folks who are traditionally homeless, the people who are living on the streets, but only about 7% of those folks are folks that we see.
When you were talking earlier, right before the taping, you mentioned a recent study, and you were even surprised at some people that have risked their life for the United States of America are also coming and utilizing Manna more and more. Why don't you talk about that?
Well, you know, one of the things that we ask people when they come to see us is, why do you need help? Why are you here today? And we're also asking them a little bit about their background, including if they're military. Shockingly, 13% of the families we helped this past year are military. They're either active duty, retired, or they're veterans, which was really surprising to us. And we believe that's certainly an increase over past years as well.
Now, if somebody comes to you because you're emergency, and you know, you've done such a great job getting the Manna name out there. I mean, you've just, at the ballpark, everywhere I go, you know, there's bring a can, do this, and you and your staff have done a marvelous, marvelous job. But I might come to you because I hear manna and I hear food, and I get to you, and either I'm not an emergency, or maybe I guess I can only come to you so often. So one, how often can I come to you? But the other question is, if I come to you, will you help me find another place if I don't qualify for manna?
Absolutely. Those are great questions, Quinn. As a matter of fact, we can help someone a maximum of 4 times a year with food. And when someone comes to us and we're not able to help them, there are a lot of other pantries in the area that we can refer them to so they can go get assistance.
So you'll help them find a spot if they can't come to manna?
Absolutely. And you know, one of the things that we're doing now at Manna is we actually offer a food stamp registration site. So for folks who come in and need help, now you have to sign up online to get food stamps. And that's a tough system to navigate.
Well, plus you might be talking about people that because they don't have the money, they might not have a computer or online capabilities.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So we have volunteers now who are helping out by getting you signed up on food stamps on site at Manna. And you mentioned you're very kind about our team at Manna. We're blessed to have 7.5 people. I think I'm the half brain, but 7.5 people who work at Manna. But shockingly, which is great news, 440 hours a week that volunteers give.
You have great volunteers
Isn't
and a
that
wonderful
incredible?
volunteer board.
That is a
Thank you.
wonderful testament to the way this community responds whenever
Absolutely.
they're called upon to help.
So if people can't bring cans, can't bring food, they can certainly bring themselves.
Absolutely. They can come down and volunteer. And one of the things that we do that's a little different from most other pantries in the area is we are really concerned with the nutrition that we give out, the food, the quality of food that we give out as well.
Yeah, and we will have, thank you so much for coming to be with us today, and I'm so happy about the work that you're doing. Just keep on keeping on. I know the next big thing for you is going to be the Fill a Bowl for Manna fundraiser, which is going to be in January. You can find out more at progresspromise.com, or we'll have all the details. Thank you so much. We'll be back with more.
People with autism experience the world a little differently. Things seem louder, brighter, faster. It can be overwhelming. You might see them rocking or flapping their hands to relieve stress. It's no big deal, just stimming. And if they look away or seem distracted during a conversation, they're not ignoring you. Maybe eye contact just isn't their thing, or they need a little longer to gather their thoughts. Learn more about autism. It's a different kind of different. Visit autismpensacola.org.
Thank you so much for coming back. We want to thank our guests who joined us today. They're so generous with their time. Dee Dee Flounlacker from Manna Food Pantries, Reverend Timothy May from Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, and Jessica Simpson with the Health and Hope Clinics. All are wonderful, dedicated people doing great work in 2 areas of our community where there's really deep need, Quint, both in access to health care and trying to battle the issue of hunger.
Well, that's right. You know, we're so fortunate. When I moved here, one of the things that caught me was there's so many good not-for-profits, and they have to work so hard on raising money because our population is not as large as a lot of cities. And then I wondered why, and the reason is very clear, the need and the poverty that exists in our community. And I'm so excited, and we apologize for all of those that do great work that we couldn't mention, because I'm sitting here thinking about, I just went to a Big Brothers Big Sisters event that was phenomenal. The Appetite for Life just had an event. ARC Gateway just had an event. We know the good work that autism does. So we see all this work, the Good Works, where you can now get tools to fix your yard if you have a code issue. There's so many great not-for-profits, which means we have so many great board members and so many great staff members. So on behalf of all of us in Northwest Florida, thank you for the people that run the great not-for-profits, and also, of course, thank you to those that donate to really make a difference and a positive impact in our communities.
Absolutely. Our area would not be the great place to live that it is without a really dedicated group of residents who believe in helping their fellow man. You don't get that everywhere.
No, you don't. And when people come in here, they're always amazed at the generosity in our community. And again, we need your generosity. And now we're excited. I thought you did such a great job in Shannon's window, and I think we're getting ready for that, aren't we?
We are. We'll have that coming up shortly. But first, we do want to just give another shout out to some more nonprofits in the community, just to let folks know what's going on with them. Because at this time of year, we all may be taking a fearless moral inventory and looking at ourselves and asking if maybe we could find a little room in our hearts to give back. If you visit us at progresspromise.com, we'll have all the links to these groups and details about how you can help out and lend a hand to folks who need a little bit of extra help this
And it
season.
doesn't have to be just money. I know a lot
No.
of volunteers at Pathways for Change, for example, that go out there each week and do stuff there. So it doesn't have to be money, but money is well accepted. Community Cares
Sure.
with Susan Strawn. Again, there's just so many opportunities to make a difference, not only this time of year, but all throughout the year here in Northwest Florida.
Absolutely. The Northwest Florida Council on Aging can always use space heaters, but they must be new and in the box. Nothing from your garage, please. Since the council did receive an Impact 100 grant this year to buy 3 vans to help with clients' transportation needs, now they need some volunteer drivers as well as volunteers to deliver Meals on Wheels. So if you can help, call 432-1475 or email info@coawfla.org. The Salvation Army is conducting its annual Red Kettle campaign with the theme Take 5 to Give 5. That means take 5 minutes to give $5. The Kettle Drive's goal this year is $300,000. Last year, it was just around $250,000, and they barely made it. The Salvation Army folks say if they can get 100,000 people in Escambia County to give $5 each, they could do an awful lot of good. So be on the lookout for the bell ringers at area Publix, Winn-Dixie stores, Walmarts, and Cordova Mall. To find out more, call 432-1501 extension 16 or extension 17. They also are doing an angel tree program this year. The Salvation Army pre-screens the families and then puts their holiday requests on an angel tree. The trees are at all Members First credit union branches and at the Ryan's Restaurant on Pensacola Boulevard. The U.S. Marine Corps Reserves are partnering with Bell's department stores for the Toys for Tots program. Drop boxes for new, unwrapped toys will be at Bell's stores throughout the area. And attorney Gregory Farrar and his law firm are once again hosting an annual coat and blanket drive to collect winter coats and warm blankets to be handed out at homeless shelters. If you can help, call 434-8904 or email greg@farrarlawfirm.com. There are lots of great ways to give back in our community. Those are just a few of them. There are so many nonprofits doing great work every day that we couldn't possibly mention them all. So to anyone we left out, we surely didn't do it on purpose, and we want you to send us your information. We'll post it at progresspromise.com so that folks can get your contact info and find out how they can help you do the great work that you do every day. Thanks so much.
Pensacola is moving forward. For decades, we've been looking at the horizon, gathering the pieces, laying the foundation for a brighter future. Now that horizon is upon us. The pieces are in place. It's time to put them together, to bring this community together and build something greater than the sum of its parts. Out of many, us. Pensacola.
I want to thank everyone who's visited progresspromise.com, our online home. Thank you for liking our Facebook page and giving us feedback and offering to share your thoughts on how we move Pensacola forward. Carl Wernicke is sharing details about the IHMC Speaker Series there as one of our guest writers. On our story about the UWF Innovation Institute in the De Villiers Square building, folks started sharing their memories of old businesses that used to populate the neighborhood and sharing their hopes that the news of UWF's investment in the neighborhood is a sign of great things to come for that part of the city. We've also had good suggestions about topics and issues you'd like to see explained in a little depth, and we'll get to those. Our Twitter handle is Our Progress Now, and you can find us on Facebook and chat with us there. And tell a friend. Why does giving matter? We spend a lot of time talking about it. We tell our kids to share even when they really don't want their little brother or sister touching their stuff. We hear, especially at this time of year, to think of those who have less than we have and share with them as the good book commands. And Pensacolians are great givers. We have the largest chapter of Impact 100 in the world. In the world. The women of our community stand together every year to show the power that their pooled resources have to affect change. The Reverend Sylvia Tisdale gets up early morning after morning to feed breakfast to the homeless. Willie Mae Stanberry and the folks at A Will and a Way help women who are being released from jail transition with faith-based counseling and job training to get their lives back on track. Good is done every day in this community because the need is great. and it doesn't just exist at the end of the calendar year. We are the poorest metropolitan area in the state. Some 88,000 Escambia County citizens have no health insurance. None. In October, 62,959 people in Escambia County got food stamps. We have an incidence rate of child abuse that ranks us 10th in the state in terms of violence against children. Only 23% of our county's population has earned at least a bachelor's degree or higher. Giving matters because the folks at Manna Food Pantries can make $9 buy a weekend's worth of food for a Santa Rosa student who doesn't have a place of their own to live. It matters because Joe Sims, a son of West Pensacola, used to take stock in children's scholarship to go to college and become a social worker helping troubled kids. He still thinks about the 10th grade history teacher at Pensacola High School who stayed on him all the time. He wishes he could find Mr. Stone and say, "I know what you were trying to do for me." In the meantime, Joe keeps paying it forward, keeping the faith that even if those kids he works with now don't hear him, they will later. It matters because if we don't help the working poor in this community, those numbers I mentioned earlier won't change. They may even get worse. And we will wonder why another generation of young professionals move away, why businesses that need a deep labor pool that is well educated locate elsewhere. Giving matters because it is not just good for the soul of a person, it is good for the soul of a community as well. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you come back next time, and remember to visit us online at progresspromise.com. Thank you.